is sort of shut down, and I'm full of good ideas, but I regret it the next day. It's like, let's get some whiskey, and it's only 3 a.m. Let's watch The Exorcist. So we were in this kitchen in these student digs with like the Ghost Club and the SPR and all these different people just like chatting away about The Exorcist. And Mike Mason was there from the Cthulhu games. We got chatting, and then someone said, she's an artist, show me work. So I did, and now I've been commissioned for some Cthulhu games, so I was well chuffed with that.
Fantastic.
Rang my mum, like, Mum.
Do you have your artwork up in like places where people can go and buy them, or
I'm
them online?
opening an Etsy shop soon for prints, but I've had a couple of exhibitions. Got one coming up in October, November in Wivenhoe, where I live. It's just like 50 minutes down the track from London, and it's with my husband Jack and our friends Elena and Joss. Joss did the music to Eerie Essex, and we all do similar things, sort of like hidden landscapes and trying, like, not knowing what we're doing when we started, but then finding the landscape. So we're putting on an exhibition, the four of us, so we're quite excited about that.
Oh, that'd be brilliant. Do you know where that's going to be yet?
Yeah, it's in the old grocery. So it was, well, it says on the tin, it was the old grocery, and now it's an exhibition space.
Fantastic. Oh, that'd be good. So if there's anyone local, get down there.
If you go on my social media, it's on there, because I'm well excited, like posting every time. Look what we're doing.
Fantastic. Are you a member of the ASSAP?
I am, yes.
Yeah. How did you get involved with that?
It was actually through Eerie Essex. I was on one of the many paranormal Facebook groups, just scrolling through, and I noticed this person was talking about something that happened to them in Essex. It was Christian Jensen Roma, who's the chairman of ASAP, and I messaged him saying, that's a really cool story, and I told him about Eerie Essex, and he actually came on and told us the story on there, which happened in Beauchamp, St. Paul, which is really good. It's a really creepy story, like proper cult sort of stuff going on there. And then he said, oh, come along to see, we got a lecture on this Thursday. I mean, it's £5 a year for a lecture every week, and really, really good lectures. And then, so they started, because I'm sort of like, obviously based in Essex, a couple of things have come my way. And because he knows I like Welsh folklore, recently I don't know how else to put it, but it sounds so big-headed. I was one of the experts on Help My House is Haunted on Sky Discovery through ASAP. They sort of sent me up there to go and talk about Welsh folklore, and they're coming down to Essex soon. So it's opened a lot of doors. It's really good to be involved with them.
Yeah. Okay, so if anyone does want to get involved with the ASSAP, do you know how they go about that?
Just literally Google them, when the website will come up, ASAP, and there's the how to join. I think it's £20 a year if you want like a proper magazine that comes out every 3 months, which is what I've gone for. But if you just want the digital copy and just want to come along to the lectures, it's £5 a year. And they're really good lectures, really good.
Yeah, I must admit, I've seen a few of the lectures come up, both on social media and in my email, but I've never actually gone to one yet.
They're good. And another one, I volunteer as well for the Folklore Library and Archive with Mark Norman, who does the Folklore podcast. And there's always conferences on there as well, which is all, again, it's one of these things that we're not paid to do it. So any support anyone can give, and they're not expensive. I think there's a conference coming up soon, or an event, and it's like £5 or £3. And like a whole weekend conference is 15, and you've got about 12 different speakers. So there's a lot going on. I think lockdown has meant that, I mean, these conferences I couldn't have got to easily if they'd have been in person. So I'm quite grateful that a lot of them are still online. Yeah,
I think that's going to be the way forward for a lot of, organisations like that.
Or like hybrid, because it was nice going to the one in Bath for ASAP, because you get to meet the people and you get to network and stuff. But it's not always possible. There's so many on. Yeah, that it's nice to be able to just think, oh well, I'll go to that one, but I'll log into that one and mix and match. So I think if they can like put both on, like I think Conway Hall do it a lot. You can either go in person or you can pay a smaller fee and just log into their live feed.
Yeah, I mean, I must admit, it is nice. I mean, I've got a friend that does the paranormal, was it Paracon? And it's to do with the Haunted Antiques Paranormal Research Centre in Hinckley.
I want to go there.
It's an amazing place. I really recommend it.
Well, I was a bit concerned. I think they put on, they were trying to summon demons on YouTube.
They try all sorts. I think it's just an entertainment thing. I think to get people.
But it did sound like the beginning of a horror movie, a B movie. I was like,
absolutely, it did, didn't it? I mean, I went to some of their seances when they first started them, and we really didn't get too much activity through them either, to be fair.
But did you have fun?
But yeah, it was entertaining. It was a good night out, nice and cheap as well. And I think they're trying to do like ghost hunts really dirt cheap for the members of public as well, especially at the moment with the finances, the way it's going at the moment. It's getting ridiculous.
Yeah.
So they're trying to keep it as cheap as possible to pull in the crowds. But I've been there quite a few times as just an investigator, and there is some weird stuff going on up there.
I can imagine.
It is. I mean, they don't claim that anything's haunted. So they've got loads of objects that you can just go and work with. And there's a lot of mediums that go up there and say, yeah, I'm drawn to this particular statue or box, or whatever it is he happens to have up there. And then they get to work with it. And, you can pick things up, pick objects up, move them about, investigate and work with those individual objects.
I think, have you heard of, Icy Sedgwick, who does Fabulous Folklore podcast?
Yeah.
She had a good idea. I think she said it just as a joke, but I was like, do you know what? I'd watch that. Imagine like Cash in the Attic, but haunted objects, like going to people's houses and having a look. Like, oh, that's a great idea. Someone needs to do that.
Yeah, I remember John Zaffis, when he done a TV show, The Haunted Collector, I think he called himself.
Yes.
It just amused me that everywhere he went, it was like, oh yeah, this 18th century gun is haunted. I better take that away with me. It was never something modern that cost about 5p down the market. Oh, no. It was always something that was quite valuable.
Oh, right, yeah, I can see what you're
Yeah, it's like, really?
Really?
Yeah. I can imagine a modern update version of that. It'd be like, oh, your 42-inch TV's haunted. I better take that with me.
Yeah, your PlayStation 5 has got something going on there.
Exactly. Which, it's just entertainment, isn't it, though? That, I think.
I think that's why podcasts have become so popular as well. I mean, lockdown was quite lonely. And it was nice to have, I think we were all used to and didn't realize how we were used to voices, like having a chat in the background. That's what started me listening to them. I was listening to Lawmen because they're hilarious. And that's how I started listening to Uncanny with Danny. And that's got a really lovely community. It was just started with a few of us like nerds, like talking online with on Twitter. And then we've now got our own little WhatsApp group. And like every few weeks we have a Zoom call, and it just started out with a few of us, and now we've got amazing people coming on to talk to us, like Deborah Hyde and Delith Bader, and the Appalachian Folklore podcast with Aaron Bobeck, and it's really taken off. It's become its own little thing now, and it's I never would have thought that social media would be so good for the paranormal community, but yeah.
Yeah, no, it can be good. It really can.
Well, that's how we got chatting through
it. Exactly. That's how it works. But I do think there are some paranormal groups out there that have a lot of, what's the word? Trying to put it nicely, armchair warriors.
Yes.
And I think they've ruined it for a lot of people.
There are some quite venomous ones too. Like now and again, you'll see someone posting like a screenshot of like an argument they've had, and it's like, whoa, that was
Yeah,
quite intense.
exactly. And it has got it's got nothing to do with anyone on that chat, but people still feel the need to share it, and it's like, really, I don't go in for that. I just avoid it like the plague. Yeah, but no, that's sort of why I got into podcasting, because I've got a lot of experience myself in investigations. I've got a lot of knowledge, and I'm quite happy sharing that and talking to different people, and growing that knowledge, sharing, and
Have you ever been on an investigation and then felt like you've brought something back with you? That's always fascinated me, because obviously I'm behind the scenes, so I don't go out. I've been on my first investigation on Saturday. That's how newbie I am at it.
I have, yeah. I've seen like corner of the eye phenomenon occasionally when I've been in the flat on my own, like flickers of light, but that normally tends to go away after a couple of days. As I said, because I don't normally see or hear spirit, anything coming back would just be ignored.
Yeah.
so they get bored and go away. But it's happened to one of my co-hosts, my co-workers in the team. She claims that she's had someone behind her in the. She drives, so she says that someone's been sitting behind her, kicking the back of her seat as she's been driving. She was saying that because she lives in a caravan, my friend, and she said that she was sitting there one night, and all of a sudden, the table jumped in the front room, just literally jumped like someone had kicked it from underneath. So she done her mediumship bit, and she come up with a name, a shortened down name, something like Ben, or something similar to that. And we actually done an investigation that week at Shrewsbury Prison, I think it was.
Right.
So I went down the list of all the people that had been executed at Shrewsbury, and his name was on it.
Right.
So we done a little bit of research on that particular person, and we found out there's actually a book written about him.
Ooh.
So she got the book and learned about him, and sort of conversed with him, and he happily went back to Shrewsbury, I should imagine. It was just like, I'm here sort of thing. And I assume that because she was sensitive to spirit, he sort of latched onto her. So I've not personally had anything like that. It's always been like corner of the eye that I'd be like, yeah, I don't buy into that really. I'm quite skeptical when it comes to spirits, unless it's like,
to be a bit skeptical.
Yeah, I mean, like, unless I turn a corner and I see a ghost like in Ghostbusters, in the library. If I see that, then I'm going to believe.
Yeah. Mind you, there'd still be some, if they saw that, they'd be like, oh, no.
Yeah, no, I think I'd be relatively convinced by that. I don't think I'd need to go get her.
We've, Elsa and I have actually found that me more than Elsa, maybe because I'm a bit more of a believer, whereas she's a bit more of a skeptic. We've had, I call them more synchronicities, like coincidences that have happened that seem to happen along the theme that we've done. So each episode is a theme, so we don't take a particular place. We'll do sort of like Poltergeist one episode, UFOs the next, fairies the next. We sort of attack it by theme. And we've noticed that every time we've done something, I'll have a weird experience that is to do with it. Not intentionally, I'm not looking out for it. So we did our episode on UFOs, and it was just before the episode came out. So it's always in the build-up as we're doing the research.
Right, yeah.
And perhaps you're just more open to looking out for things. But we always joke that my house is like the British Skinwalker Ranch, because there's always something going on here, like on a flight path for UFOs and things.
Yeah.
And I find it very hard to describe the UFO I saw. So if anyone's interested, I did a puppet show of it. that's on
Okay.
Instagram under Eerie Essex. And what really got me was I've seen two over this house, and they were so blatant